Good morning, everybody. Welcome to We Have Something to Say with Leonard, Watkins, and Kenneth Lively. We're about 2 minutes late, but hey, we're here. We're here. Yes, we're here. The dream team is here. And um, a couple of things I want to talk about today was, well, shit, that ain't going to happen today. Uh, Robert Johnson yesterday, I just read this. So government, there's a lieutenant governor running for governor of Virginia. And the other day, something happened and at a town hall, and somebody held up a sign that said, "Virginia Sears, if you don't want trans people to go into the bathroom, why not? Why don't you not go to the water fountain?" To which he found, according to him, unusually racist. And so he decided that he was going to contribute immediately, according to the article, $500,000 to her campaign. Now, let me tell you about the lieutenant governor for Virginia. She's a former veteran from Haiti, and one of the things I always say is my litmus test for any right now black Republican, any black Republican running for a higher office is, are you defending the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the onslaught that's coming from them trying to destroy it, which led to you being elected? Any black official that's elected right now, the genesis of them being elected is 1964 Civil Rights Act. It's indisputable. You would not probably be elected if it wasn't for that act. And are you defending it? So my question and my irritation with Robert Johnson is, and I'm gonna go off on a tangent here, I'm gonna let Kenneth speak, is two things. Number one, where have you been as they've been as the Louisiana case that's going right before the Supreme Court as we speak, weekend break, and they're trying to literally gut the act, the last remaining provision of the act, which is race-based districts, because traditionally, white states legislators in every state have done everything they could do in their power to suppress the black vote. From gerrymandering to, look, we don't have to go down the history. We all know the history. We know anything about black history. We know they try to suppress the vote. And so Louisiana is going after the last provision in the act that were literally gutted, literally gutted. Just like they did in Houston, literally going after the black voting power base. Nobody else's but ours, like they did in Houston. And for somebody like Virginia Sears, and I've said this to Kenneth many times, man, is there some secret that I don't know about? Like there's some secret get together with other black folks that are, and I'm just dead ass wrong, telling me that, hey, they're out trying to protect this 1964 Civil Rights Act, that Rob Johnson would come in and give her $500,000, and this lady hadn't done a goddamn thing to protect the voting rights, hadn't spoke on it, has literally ride the coattails of what's the Virginia governor's name, the former investment banker. His name's on the tip of my tongue. And you haven't said anything about what's going on in the Deep South, about them suppressing the voting rights of African Americans. And without African Americans in the South, you can't win national elections. You just can't. You cannot. Let me say this again. You cannot. You cannot win without black voters. The largest group of black voters in the country is in Texas, followed by Mississippi, followed by Louisiana, followed by Georgia, followed by Florida. I know Texas is number one. You cannot. And if you are a black Republican and that is not your line in the sand, you do us no good. And if Rob Johnson, here's the kicker with me when I talk about black businessmen who are billionaires. From a business perspective, I would love to hear Marion's perspective on this. If you don't protect your consumers who are majority black, majority African Americans, you can't make money. You just can't. There's no way around it. You've made your money from African Americans. And if you don't protect African Americans,
Well,
to make money so that
dude,
they
he used to own Louisiana.
Huh?
What business does he have, man?
What's what? Robert Johnson?
What business does Robert Johnson have? I said, what? Yeah, what business does he have now? He used to own
Robert
BET.
Johnson
What does he do
he
now?
owns a series of car dealerships now, but he made his billions from BET.
Oh, okay.
He made his billions from
Yeah,
BET.
yeah, I know that. I know
Yeah.
that.
So
So I
he
didn't
owns
know
a
what he
series.
did. I know what his ex-wife did.
Yeah.
Uh, 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 um, oh shoot, what is she open?
She owns a series of
Bed
hotels.
and breakfast, and I
Yeah.
think a vineyard or
She
something like
owns,
that.
she owns a big resort. But the truth of the
Yeah,
matter
that's
is,
what I'm saying.
what,
Bread and breakfast. At least that's she started with the bread and
right,
breakfast. I hadn't heard
right,
anything from either one
right.
of them. Yeah, I haven't heard anything from either one of them in years.
But the truth of the matter is, what business they're in right now has no bearing on what I'm saying, because you made your money off Black people. And you probably make the majority of your money right now off Black people. And if you aren't out there fighting for the 1964 Civil Rights Act, then Black folks hurt
Yeah,
target.
he
Yes,
sold
they
his.
did. Hmm? What's that, Kenneth? You said something?
I was saying, I'm sorry. The Wi-Fi keeps going in and out.
All right.
Yeah, I was saying that Robert Johnson, he was a Trump supporter from the first time he ran for office. He hasn't been for any black candidates or anything for years. Remember, he was a big time Trump supporter then. Came out
I
and
didn't know
supported him and
I
all
didn't
that
know he
shit. I think he
supported.
went to the White House the first time. If I'm not
Yeah, I
mistaken.
didn't know Robert Johnson supported Trump. But
Yeah, yeah,
so the question
yeah. That's
becomes,
why it's him saying that. Him saying that does not surprise me.
look, we can have as many debates. I'm with Roland on this one. I'm with Roland and Gary Chambers, Louisiana. The full focus of the African American community needs to be to protect that 1964 Civil Rights Act. It's everything to our community. It's really everything to every minority community. It's really everything to every women's rights organization. And the history of the country is when you got Black voting rights, you can kind of do what you want. I've said this numerous number of times. I'm having visceral reactions to it now, that if we don't step up to speak up about the most consequential, besides the New Deal, policy put in place in the country that gave us voting power that we rightfully earned, and give it that rightfully earned. Like Roland said, they're really just trying to push us back to before 1960. And I think it's irresponsible for every podcaster, us included, to not understand that this affects us all in such a tremendous way, that to be talking about anything from relationships to Cam Newton to sports, that's just all bullshit. Because truth of the matter, that act allowed you to do what you're doing. You wouldn't have these opportunities without that act. You won't have opportunities going forward without that act. For those of you that think you will, you won't. From teaching to doctors to lawyers to CEOs to whatever, you will be affected. Me and Marion talk about this all the time. This is nuts that people are only going to get involved when it's too late. It's insanity. It's straight insanity. But do wealthy Black, for the most part, support the candidates that will make the money? Doesn't it become about money for a lot of the wealthy Black and white light in the 21st century? Yeah, but they aren't looked at the same. Their Black wealth is not going to be treated the same as white wealth. Why they continue to believe that, it's baffling to me. The writing is on the wall with this administration. The writing is on the wall. Why we continue to allow people to even feel comfortable in our communities, who look like us, when they are arrogant enough to think they know what's best for us. I just don't get it. I really don't. I don't. We're sitting back and we're watching. People say, well, "What can you do?" With last week we were talking about this on the show. I tried to have Mike on. My thing has always been, hey, if you want to send us back pre-1964 Civil Rights Act, Okay, what's the only thing we could do? We'll send you back pre-1964 athletics. You will vote with our dollars and we'll vote with our bodies. Because for Robert Johnson to come out and do that with this, and I've looked up this woman before. You know, she's like, I'm gonna pull myself up by my bootstraps. Other African Americans, lady, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for African Americans. You wouldn't have no bootstraps to pull up. No, they think they're different because they have money. Let me tell you something about wealthy Black folks. They think they're different. They think they're different. They think that their money. Look, we grew up, Harriet, in from a fairly, for what people would say, I'm from a fairly wealthy grandparents. She might have been, our grandparents might have been treated differently privately. They were not treated any differently publicly. They were not treated any differently publicly. White folks wouldn't say that they were allies with those people publicly. They might want their money privately, but not publicly. So I think Kavanaugh asked the question yesterday, according to Gary Chambers, shouldn't there be a sunset clause on race-based districts? To which Gary Chambers says, is there a sunset clause to racism? Because Louisiana's a test case. And nobody's talking about it. I don't see any Black policy except, well, Roland. But that affects everybody. Everybody down to your kids, your grandkids for the next 60 years. Everybody, period. Everybody. You got it, Kenneth. Yes, I am.
Oh, they gotta ask you whether or not you come to your birthday party.
She's trying to be funny, Kenneth.
That's some new shit right there.
She's trying to be funny. Listen.
I don't think she's trying to be funny. I think she's being real. You don't come home. I think that's what she's saying.
She got jokes, Kenneth. And don't you throw no fuel on the flame either. You stick to what we talking about.
I'm going by what your sister said. That ain't my sister. That's your sister.
You can ignore it. You stick to the topic at hand.
You the one that highlighted it. What you supposed to be? I'm not supposed to respond for something that you highlighted. Okay, I read what she said. Too late now.
See, I unhighlighted it.
Yeah, it's still there though.
Anyway, go ahead. All
right. So I missed about half the stuff you did because I missed about half of what you said because the stuff in this hotel, the Wi-Fi in this hotel is shitty, unfortunately. So I had to go to my phone. I apologize, y'all. That's one of the reasons why we're late too, because of that. But anyway, as I was saying, what I want to say, I missed half of what Leonard said. But this woman in Virginia, can you hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're a little spotty, but I can hear you.
Can you still hear me, Leonard?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're a little spotty, but I can hear you.
All right. So the thing of it is, it's because it's already in the Supreme Court. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 is, well, at least that provision that Louisiana is trying to overturn is already in front of the Supreme Court. Unless something drastic happens, we know what they're going to do, because that's what they always do. That's the thing that they always do when it comes to anything with civil rights, especially this Supreme Court anyway. This set of conservative Republicans conservatives on the Supreme Court. They always try to end anything that has anything to do with civil rights for anybody. It's not the question of, to me, it's not a question of what are we going to do to stop it, because it's already been stopped. I mean, it's already in motion. The time that we should have stood up and said something was at the ballot box last year. That's when we should have stood up and said something. That's our opportunity. And you were talking about the largest concentration of African Americans and the cities with the largest concentration of African Americans. Uh, the You mentioned Houston, uh, or cities, well, states, I should say. You said Houston, which is in Texas. Then you went on to uh, Mississippi, Louisiana, and this is a major cities or cities with large concentrations of black people in. The biggest problem we have is they didn't vote when they had the chance to. That's the problem. And now we're seeing the consequences of them not voting. It's like we can stand up, protest, yell, scream, do anything we want at this point, but it's too late. In reality, it's too late. The only thing we can hope for is that they stand up, they finally get through their thick ass skulls that the voting actually counts. And then they go ahead and vote in 2026. That's it. Unless there's a special election or something like that. There's nothing else we can do. And that's real talk. I mean, we can go through and boycott some of these people in the state legislators and all that. Yeah, boycott their companies and all that, or whatever whoever they work for. We can do that, and maybe that'll slow down some of the legislation and idiotic lawsuits that they're putting through. We can do that, but in terms of it, all goes back to the same thing. We got to vote. We got to vote. We can hurt them financially, but we still got to vote. So I for one, don't anticipate the Supreme Court actually coming down and saying something and saying, "No, you can't get rid of that provision." If Kavanaugh is asking that question, he asked that question because they told him to ask that question, and it doesn't make a difference. Uh, uh, it doesn't make a difference how what he believes personally. What he's gonna do is vote the way they told him to vote. That's the reason why his bitch ass is on there in the first place. We talking about people who have, they have no moral compass. If they have no moral compass, they just trying to do their master's bidding. And the master is the ones that put them there. The Heritage Foundation, all of that. They even going against their own. I think a couple of them have gone against the stuff they already ruled on or something like that. I remember, I think there was one of them went against something they already said. And John Roberts comes up there with his little bitch ass, always talking about the other day that to the effect that people had losing faith in the courts. Well, motherfucker, you did that shit. You did that. It's like they want to have it both ways. They want to have something that they want to be respected, but he's doing shit that nobody respects him for. That's all it is. The best we could have done back in the day was hope that one of them keeled over before what's his name got in office, before Biden left office. And since that didn't happen, we just hope they hold on. Because if they don't, then what's his name is going to point one or two more. I'm really shocked that Clarence Thomas and Alito, they still on the court. I thought they would have retired already. So, and as Marion said, I'm coming around to his point, severe pain. And Marion, to be quite honest, I've always, when all of this stuff happened, when they didn't vote, I was kind of feeling that way before. I just didn't voice it. I didn't voice it because people don't understand, and we see it. People are starting. I shouldn't say starting. Excuse me. They're feeling this, and it's their own fault. I'm not gonna, and I don't care what anybody says. You can't convince me that black people, because people try to say, well, black people are only 13% of the population or whatever percentage, it wouldn't have made a difference. Yes, the hell it would have. It would have. It would have. I'm not sure how many black people are in this country because I keep getting different numbers. Let's say give it a round number of 20 million. 20 million black people that are eligible to vote. Let's go 15 million. And you only got, what, 60% of them voting? Now, I'm not a math person. Matter of fact, I flunked math so much I'm surprised I even passed it at some point. I guess because I kept repeating the same classes, I guess I finally figured it out. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. 60% of 15 million eligible voters is not that much, man. That's what, about 9 million? A little over 9 million, 60%. So that means 6 million didn't vote. That 6 million would have made a difference. Yeah, a few 100,000 in certain cities would have made a difference. A few 100,000 more in a few, not even a few 100,000, a few thousand in Detroit, a few thousand in Philly, a few thousand in Chicago. Hell, if you had half the eligible black people in Mississippi vote, that would have changed Mississippi. So I'm not going to blame the MAGA people for doing what they do because we allowed it to do it. We literally allowed them to do it. Everything that's coming down the pipeline that is going to be against us is because we don't vote. And you sit here and think things going to get better for you when you're not even participating in the process because you let some person, some idiot, some AI bot, or some black guy who don't know shit about politics, don't know shit about the electoral system in this country, tell you that your vote doesn't count. So why vote? That's who the fuck you listen to. Stupid motherfuckers read half a paragraph in a book, and think they know every goddamn thing about politics. That's who the fuck y'all listen to. And then you don't go vote. Or the people, oh no, she got her family-owned slaves. Motherfucker, your family-owned slaves too. I can't stand that shit, man. Actually had somebody tell me her family-owned slaves. Like, oh, the fuck off. I know your family-owned slaves because that's my family. And I can tell you the goddamn people who walk there. I can tell you the white people's name too. So don't sit here and tell me all this shit, all this bullshit about what she can, what she didn't do, how many people she locked up and all that. Look what the fuck is going on now. It's just this whole dichotomy that they are, or let's say this. Let's get back to Robert Johnson. And Robert Johnson and the stuff that he's saying. That motherfucker sold out years ago, man. He ain't been for us for years. He's still thinking he getting respect in the black community because he owned BET.
Then my question for you, Don, Harriet, and Marion would be this: it seems to me that there's a general malaise of African Americans who feel downright defeated. And I was listening to Gary Chambers. If y'all don't follow Gary on Instagram, Gary's out of Louisiana. Gary's really smart. He ran for Senate. He ran a great campaign. Had some great commercials. And what Gary's thing is that, number one, the Democratic Party hasn't put any money in Louisiana. And he also said that basically what he's saying, why I respect Gavin Newsom, and Kenneth, is funny because this goes along with something you and I said a while ago. Gavin Newsom needs to come down to Louisiana and make these points. He needs to come to black neighborhoods and make these points. He needs to go to Texas to make these points in black neighborhoods. And so the question is it what we said during the last campaign when we saw her go to, when we first saw her go to Albany, you and I both said, boy, that was a smart move. Because people have to be seen and heard in order to get involved. Is it going to take somebody like Gavin Newsom, who I think is on a roll for the last 2 weeks? He's obviously struck a huge nerve with, is seen as a real threat to this movement. Is it going to take him to say, you know what, let me go down here and try to galvanize these African Americans? Because they obviously feel defeated in Mississippi. When you just feel like you don't have any hope and you're just going to take what's coming down your way and it affects all of us. See, that's the thing that I keep saying. If it really didn't, if the way you vote didn't affect me and my grandchildren, it just affected you, I probably wouldn't be talking about this. But if you're African American, you're in the boat, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. And it's one of the reasons why I've always said, and I've gotten pushback from this, man, I don't celebrate Montgomery boat anniversary with no folding chairs. I don't celebrate that shit. Because the shit did nothing to change policy. They're still in the same oppressed position they were in before that happened. But what it did do was it let you know how deep Black people wanted to win. And so I'm asking you and Don and Marion, so do you think Gavin Newsom should, there's General Melez, not among African Americans, but among males aged 45 to 14. Scott Galloway says it's 7 million males. Look, I was with a young Black male yesterday, just sitting there listening to him talk. I look on Kenneth's face, I'm about to shut up so you can speak. I don't think y'all, unless you talk to...
Oh, no.
Huh? What's that, Kenneth?
Go ahead.
Go
ahead, I'm listening.
Unless you get out there and talk to young Black males, and I was talking to a 26-year-old college graduate yesterday. Unless you go down to some of these barbershops, if you're a Black male and you're our age, because I haven't been to the barbershop in a while because I cut my own hair, and you listen to them and listen to how all over the place their thinking is, like I was doing yesterday. And this is a good kid I was talking to yesterday. I consider him a good, decent human being. I don't think people realize how bad the problem is. And I've been saying this for a while. What affects the white community one way affects us a totally different way. So I love Scott Galloway. I follow Scott Galloway. And Scott Galloway does try to address some of the ills. And he's smart. He's smart as hell. And I think he has integrity. That's why I follow Scott Galloway. He's a real rich man and I think has a lot of integrity. But unless we can figure out how to jumpstart this engine of malaise amongst young Black men, whether that's getting Gavin Newsom, like Gary Chambers said, to come to Louisiana or to Texas, because again, I keep telling people, I was in Houston a year ago before the national election. And I was moving and relocating a Black engineer attorney. And I asked them, man, they're taking y'all rights in Houston County. What are y'all doing about it? Like, I'm just curious as somebody that's into politics. What are y'all doing about it? Because it seems to me that y'all just sitting on your hands. What are y'all doing about it? I'm just telling you what it seems to me. And he didn't really have an answer for me. It was almost like it wasn't important to him. And it was baffling to me. And unless we can, like you said, and so my question was, so are we just defeated? Because I keep hearing 2026. I keep hearing people say, I'm on Gavin Newsom's side right now. You know, I applaud Gavin Newsom for coming out and saying, you're assuming that the elections will be fair in 2026. They've already showed you they're willing to make it unfair with this gerrymandering, and Missouri's governor just took it up. You're assuming. And if you're saying, well, there ain't shit we can do about it, because that's what I'm hearing. Might as well go on with your life. We got a fever in the Black community as bad as the MAGA fever. According to us.
Okay. Let's say this. I mean, yes, assuming there is going to be an election in 2026, that's one thing. But in the reality of the situation is, whether we, other than, as we keep saying, as I've said so many times, other than the whole boycott and whatever, um, yeah, boycotting whomever and whatever, we don't have anything other than violence to correct this stuff. That's what's left.
And I
Because
get,
if
I'm glad, let me say this.
it,
I'm glad you said that, Kenneth. And let me tell you why. I want to interrupt you. Because now they're introducing, wouldn't you agree, state-sponsored violence. Now they're
oh yeah,
introducing, they are now introducing state-sponsored violence into our communities. What you just said, I knew you were going to go there. So now I'm like, okay, well, now they're introducing state-sponsored violence into our community. Because if you've been watching the
right.
videos, media videos coming out in DC, that it's like, okay, y'all motherfuckers done really got really comfortable because we let you get comfortable. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kenneth. Go ahead. Go ahead. Short of that. You said short of that.
Yeah, but the waiting on the election is all we have left, other than violence. Um, and I know one thing that they are trying to, one thing that they're doing. You said state sponsors. They're trying to provoke us. They're really trying to provoke us. they it's the fact that he's sending troops to these cities, and to patrol to bring down crime, and then he said, you got people who are welcoming me and telling me that, Mr. Trump, please come down here, please, please, please. And on the back end, like in DC, one of the things that he did in DC, Republicans cut $1 billion from the DC budget that could have had them hire more police officers. Now, how much of a difference that would have made in crime? Probably more. Would have been pushback from the community because there's more police officers? Probably so. Um, but the question becomes, do we deserve more? Do we deserve this protection in our communities? And the other question is, why aren't we doing it ourselves? This now you have an armed force with a blank check to come in and do whatever they want to us. And unfortunately, some of them that are coming in are from our communities. Now, whether they're let's just say this. I'm losing my train of thought. I apologize.
No, you're good. You're good. You're
but
good.
one of the things that I think one of the things we need to be careful of is not allowing them to provoke us into crazy confrontations, which is one of the things I think he's trying to do. So far, it hasn't happened, mainly because even though Trump has sent all these federal agents in there into our cities in D.C., and they're trying to provoke black people and giving them all kind of false statements, trying to tell them a whole bunch of stuff, and black people aren't falling for it. I feel what's going to happen is at some point, one of them is going to do something crazy, and it's going to be a jump off point. And that's going to be, see, I told you. That's going to be their see, I told you moment for Trump and his people. So we need to be careful about stuff like that. Be careful of what they're doing. Be strategic in what we do, and not give them a reason to do anything. Not to say that they're not going to try to find something to begin with, because they are looking for a flashpoint. They're trying to create a flashpoint, and the fact that one that hasn't happened in D.C. yet is a testament to the young brothers and sisters there who aren't who know that what they're trying to do. But
Kenneth,
they're going to, yeah. Well, they're going to go to Chicago. If they go to
what I want
Chicago,
what I want to say before you move on to Chicago is this, because they just, Marion and Don just brought up something that I just pulled up. And what they're saying is actually correct. Muriel Bowser did say that. And Muriel Bowser to me right now is a very political animal who doesn't want to lose control of DC. Because one of the things I've learned about this medium of film and TV and is optics take precedent over any words. And when she says stuff like she did say, that the direct surge of federal law enforcement with she's crediting it with lowering crime in the nation's capital, but made it clear that the president, immigration agents, and National Guard's troops is not working. Nobody is going to hear it's not working. Not one person. All they hear is what he did worked. That's all they hear.
Yeah.
And
that's all they hear.
Brian said to me one day last week when I was talking about this, DC, and I can tell y'all this from experience. Kenneth, you can tell people this from experience. The people who are screaming the most about crime and they want crime to go down are older Black women who don't feel safe in their neighborhoods. And I'm always amazed people say, why don't they feel safe in their neighborhoods? What are you talking about? You can't dismiss their experiences. And if you don't come in and get quote unquote control, the art of wars talks about this all the time. You have chaos. If I'm Muriel Bowser, but her budget comes from the federal government. So I'm a little all over the place here, but she did say that. But it's, and like Don said, it's ambivalent. It is what he said, she can't argue the contrary. She could argue the same could have happened if he spent the money to hire more LEOs. But right now, she's just trying to survive. And she don't care who back she got to survive on. I believe that about her since the chief got on there and said some of the stuff she said. I'm like, okay, both of y'all just trying to survive with them high paying positions. I get it to a certain degree. And you're right. But Gavin Newsom, let me add this on before you go to Chicago. Gavin Newsom just came out, like Don said, he's playing the dozens, which is deep that we could always. I like the way Don always can give you an analogy that's related to something that happens in the African American community for years. Playing the dozens. Right now, he's just playing the dozens. So Gavin Newsom released yesterday on his Twitter account, every red state whose murder rate was higher than California, and by what percentage they were higher.
Number one is Mississippi.
Number one was Mississippi, 300%. Texas was 175%.
You have the governor of Mississippi talking about he's proud that he sent troops to DC, and somebody said, "Well, you ain't send them down to Jackson." Y'all got Mississippi has the highest murder rate in the country. Matter of fact, the top 10. Let's see, the only major city, the only city in there in the top 20 that's not in a southern state or red state is Washington, D.C. Oh, no, not even Washington, D.C., because the Washington, D.C. is like 25 or something. Maybe Baltimore.
I did not know that.
But that's the only one that's not run. That's not in the that's not in the top 25. The only one, I think Baltimore might be the only one in the top 20, and it's like 16, 17, 18, somewhere around there. That's in a blue state. All the rest of them in red states. Now, I will say this: every single one of them, I take that back. Majority of them are democratically black, have Democratic mayors with black, mostly black constituents, and the mayor's black in the top 20. Most of them have that.
You mean like Memphis?
Memphis. Memphis might be number one. Either Jackson's number one or Memphis is number one. Jackson's maybe like number two. Jackson's in the top 5. But they're in red states. So if you really want to, you're going to send troops on your state that has high crime. Um, excuse me. But the crime rate in Baltimore has dropped tremendously over the last year. I mean, tremendously. And that's saying, and it dropped because of programs that the mayor implemented, the mayor and the city council implemented to help young people find jobs, find things to do. That's actually what. And you can. I'll say this. I've always one of the things I've said for years, as somebody who grew up in an area that really didn't have a recreation center. The closest recreation center to me was um, Terrace Manor, which I never went to, and the other one was on Lumpkin Road. Terrace Manor was kind of within walking distance. Lumpkin Road wasn't. Yeah, the one on Lumpkin Road wasn't. One right next to Butler. It wasn't. So the places and these places when they in the 80s when Reagan came in and he started cutting out all of these social programs and they started cutting funding to recreation centers and all the park and recreations and social programs. That's one of the first things that they when the budget got cut. It's one of the first things that they cut the money off. I mean, that got the chopping block when they started doing this. What happened next? Crime started going up tremendously. The mayor of Baltimore, when he reversed that and started spending money in social programs, summer jobs, all this stuff, crime went down in Baltimore tremendously. So there's a direct correlation between uh, whether or not these young people who could go either way. And I say there's a lot of young men in our community that can go either way. A tipping point, either a push in one direction or another, can mean the difference between whether or not they go to prison or go to college. It's just that fragile. We have a lot of. I see it on a daily basis. I see it on a daily basis. And Marion, to answer your question about the young men that I'm around all the time, I have conversations with them about that in my class every Friday. And I'm teaching U.S. history courses. In the course, we got a rigorous curriculum. I have only a certain amount of time to do things in there before my students take a test. I'm trying to do that, balance it all out, make it interesting for them so they can learn. But one day out of the week, I take time to talk to my students. I had them come in, do a presentation on current events. And it one I want them to talk in front of people. When they get out there, they won't freeze up. I want them to know what's going on in the world. So last week, and I will comment on it and get deeper into it. And I always tell them about the importance of voting. That is your voice in our community. That's our voice. Voting is our voice. I tell them, don't listen to those people who tell you that voting doesn't count. I've been telling them for years. If voting wasn't so important, why do they keep trying to take it away from the Black community? That's something that these anti-voting people in our community can never answer. If it's not important, why do they keep trying to take it away? It's just that simple. They don't have an answer for it. They never will have an answer for it. Because it makes too much damn sense. We just gotta enter voting. We've got to make them vote. Got to. We can't sit back and tell them no. It doesn't. Placate to their idiotic schemes. And say, man, no. Hey, talk to them nice. No, tell them the real shit. Tell them real shit. Tell them in a language they can understand. Harry, you said that, how do you talk to them? I don't know how to talk to them. Harry, just talk. Throw a couple of curse words in there every once in a while. They'll listen. They will definitely listen. Because listen, I'm telling you right now from experience, when you talk to young people and you talk about stuff, just keep it real. Throw a shit or a motherfucker or a hell in there every once in a while, that catches their attention. Because at that point, you're speaking their language. You can't come at them with being almighty and high up on your horse and try to, the importance of voting is a very good thing. If you don't vote, you don't get this and you don't get that. Look at that. No, tell them, hey man, look at what the shit that's going on. That price of that PlayStation that you bought, that price of that, the price of that food that you have to get for your family, that shit's going up. You want to know why? Why? Because we didn't vote. I don't see the importance of vote. Well, do you realize if when Biden was in office, things were a whole lot better? Everybody was getting their money. Food prices were down. You didn't have to pay more for those PlayStation games or whatever it is that you like, whatever your hobby is. You ain't got to pay. You didn't have to pay more for it. Now you do. Look at the gas prices. All of this stuff. Just point out stuff, day-to-day stuff with them. And then bring it back to that's the importance of voting. Just be real with people. That's all they want. You can't come at them from a point of view of, man, you dumb motherfucker, you don't know shit. Or you can say that to them. And then you break it down why they don't know that. But you can't come from a position of being high and mighty, because that turns them off. Tell them how it affects them personally. Personally. Then they understand the direct correlation. And Marion, I don't know about no Riddle being the minister. I have no idea. I don't know nothing about that shit. Because my whole thing is, whether you on Ritalin or whatever drug you're on that's supposed to make you sit down, that shit ain't working. So we're gonna come up with something else. I don't know. But it's my thing about it is this. And Don, you said Jackson is backing up. It's the option of going into a red state and doing something means that these governors aren't doing their job. They're going into cities with Democratic mayors and Democratic governors to prove a point. They don't care about cutting down crime. They really don't. Excuse me. They don't care about that. All he cares about the optics of, see, I can control these Negroes, and he don't say Negroes. That's what I'm sending him in there to do, control these Negroes.
I want to just add something Don said earlier, which is me and Don are on the same page when it comes to some of us are still living as if these are hyperboles. That's what's mind-boggling me, Don. I agree. That they literally, you talk to, two things I want to hit on. If you talk to people, they're literally going, still, what makes you think that's going to happen? Like Gavin Newsom said the other day. I know I keep bringing him up, but because now you see Wes Moore getting on the Gavin Newsom train, where he's like, oh shit, that's working. When Wes Moore could have literally been out there a long time ago going, man, fuck that motherfucker. He would have got a lot of black people. A lot of people would have woke up and they heard a black governor tell the president, man, fuck it, man, what the hell are you talking about? But it took a white guy to start it. So you're right. People think this is hyperbole, Don, but it's not hyperbole. I know it's not hyperbole. The other thing I want to say is I want to piggyback on what Kenneth said about talking to young people. One of the ways that the young man and I got to talking yesterday was I still listen to new rap music. And one of the things I asked him was about this new rap artist that none of us will really talk about. And I'm like, you ever heard of this guy? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, you heard this song with him on Eminem, which piqued his interest because it's like, man, Miss Lunch, you know about that song? It's like, yeah, it's a great song with some great verses on it. To which that sparked the interest into, man, they don't do storytelling and rap like they used to anymore. I don't like the new artist. Now he's a young guy. They don't do storytelling anymore, which led to other stuff. So I agree with Kenneth. You have to be willing to, and one of the things about I'm assuming being a high school teacher is you're always introduced to the new stuff because you're around young people. And so you kind of know how to talk to them, and you can, but that has to be something that happens everywhere when it comes to older people. You have to spark some interest. That's something that y'all have in common. And that takes willingness to get to know them and willingness to understand their comfort. The same willingness you wanted when you were young, when we were younger. And if we, as far as violence, and I'm not one of those people that's necessarily opposed to violence anymore. I believe you speak to the people in the language that they understand. But I'm also I also recognize that we're a permanent minority in America. And African Americans are a permanent minority any place they go. African Americans, I didn't say people of the African diaspora, I said African Americans and our unique experiences, because they are unique. And the last thing I want to say that Don mentioned is, like he said, by the way, the Black Caucus was asking for that crime bill. The question, because communities didn't feel safe. When we write back at the question I've been asking now for over a year, okay, what are Black men's responsibilities in making the community safe? What are we willing to do and what are we not willing to do? What groups are we willing to, as Marion said, not groups willing to form, what groups are we willing to join? Because the groups are out there, they just need new leadership. And if we aren't willing to go and say, okay, the NAACP is here, and we know the problems in NAACP is their board is too damn big. You can't function with a board of 100 people. You just can't. And what are we willing to do is say, hey, you know what? We need to change course on how we're protecting the community, because right now this is happening, and it's happening on an everyday level. I mean, you have to be begrudgingly respectful of the speed at which they are operating. Begrudgingly respectful, and begrudgingly respectful that they are staying on the same team. Joni Ernst decided deciding that she's not going to run, but they're staying on the same team, which means that a lot of them are comfortable with many of them are comfortable with the racism and the oppression of Black people as long as they get what they want, including Lisa Murkowski. So no, it's not hyperbole.
Oh yeah,
it's real. Go ahead, Kenneth.
And I kept trying to figure out why they kept trying to appeal to, kept trying to appeal to Lisa Murkowski and Democrats, Murkowski and Ernst and what's the one in Maine, Susan Collins and all of them. Every time there's a crucial vote coming up, Democrats have been trying to play to their womanly, motherly aspects, not realizing that they don't give a shit because they getting what they gonna get. They don't care. They don't care. If they did, they would. If they did, they would not vote the way that they vote. They Absolutely. Get something out of it.
Absolutely.
That's why they vote the way that they vote. And I have no respect for some of these Republicans that are leaving, and now you got something to say, or now you want to vote a certain way. Because before, all you cared about was, I need to get reelected. Now you want to say something. I ain't got no respect for that. So these people who having that coming to Jesus moment, as they like to say, in the Republican Party in Congress and all that, I ain't got no respect for you, because you could have stopped this a long time ago. You really could have stopped it a long time ago. But they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. One thing that I'm hoping for is that what's his name? Oh shoot! What's the Grim Reaper? What's the Grim Reaper in the Senate?
Mitch McConnell.
The one that was the leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell. That he just ups and leaves for health reasons. Because they have a Kentucky. Kentucky has a Democratic governor. He will appoint a Democrat to that. That's one way they could change things. That's one way they could do it. They need to, we just have to hope that something happened to some of these people. Nobody on the Supreme Court. I don't need nothing to happen to nobody on the Supreme Court right now. They need to stay where they at. We just gonna have to deal with them assholes until the next administration comes in. Because if we stick with, if one of them goes in there, Trump is going to appoint somebody. Trump is going to have is going to be able to appoint 5 people to the Supreme Court to lifetime positions. That's 5 people that think like his ass. That's ridiculous.
Before you go,
That is
Kenneth,
ridiculous. That's over half.
before you go, Marion's been wanting to talk about this for a while. Let's give 5 minutes to this. Am I voting for Jeff Duncan? Do I think he'll make a good governor? Am I inclined to vote for Jeff Duncan? Yes, I'm inclined to vote for Jeff Duncan because I think he has integrity. And I think that I know for a fact Michael Thurman can't win. I know for a fact Keisha Lance Bottoms can't win. I think Jeff Duncan can peel off enough votes in order to win. And right now, my opinion is my next vote is to, as my younger brother would say, now sometimes you have to hold ground. Sometimes in a war, you have to hold ground. It's not about advancing in that moment. It's about holding the ground that you gained. It's holding the ground that you gained. And I've been told by somebody that knows him.
Jeff Duncan is, because I had to think about it.
Jeff Duncan is the former lieutenant governor, the one that that resigned when he's like, nah, y'all don't went too far with January 6th. He's been on CNN. You've seen him. I've been told you don't want Burt Jones in there. I've been told by the State House, you do not want Burt Jones in there as governor. Not if you black. Burt Jones is the unidentified co-indicted person that Fannie was going over that the judge threw out when she held a fundraiser for his opponent. That's who that was. That was Burt Jones. That was Burt Jones. That was Burt Jones. So
okay, and you didn't say the last thing about Duncan that makes it different. Duncan was a lieutenant governor during 2020 or 2021, and he decided to recently switch from Republican to Democrat. That's who Jeff Duncan is. Yeah, Harry just said that's who he is. So we need to be strategic in terms of who we vote for. And also, too, something that you said, you just said that we need to put out there that Burt Jones is an unindicted co-conspirator in the January 6th. I mean, in that case where that Fonnie Willis came up with. We need to put it out there. Don't hold on to the truth. Put the truth out there because, excuse me, because we need to. One thing I like about Gavin Newsom, and I kept saying, you said it, is he's out there. He's just trolling them. He's making fun of Donald Trump, all of that stuff. But while he's making fun of him, he's also going doing the circuit and talking about real issues. So he, on one end, he's making fun of it. On the other end, he's talking about real issues and what we need to do, what as Democrats need to do, people in this country need to do. And that's what we need. We need somebody who's not only going to talk policy, but also talk shit. And talking shit gets, and I one thing too, talking shit will get the Black community's attention. It will definitely get the Black community's attention. Not just talking policy, because most people don't understand policy, especially in this country. They don't understand policy to begin with. All they know is what's going to help me and what's going to hurt me. That's all they know. And they love a politician that talks shit. The reason why that people voted for Biden in 2020, it was because of two things. One, going back to when he was vice president with Barack Obama. Barack Obama got that the health care bill, Obamacare put through, the Affordable Care Act put through Congress and all that. And he got caught on a hot mic saying, this is a big fucking deal. People love that shit. That's when they start calling him Uncle Joe. Then when he was debating Trump, he said, man, will you shut the hell up? That's when people respected him. Because he was willing to stand up and say, man. And you know, he really wanted to say, "Will you shut the fuck up?" That's what he really wanted to say.
You really want to say we all
If
got it.
in the debate with when what's his name when Kamala Harris, when she was debating Trump, and she said some shit and fuck almost came out of her mouth. Everybody was laughing at that shit. I can't remember exactly what it was, but she was about to say fuck. It literally was on the tip of her tongue, and she stopped herself. If she had said that, I guarantee she'd have gotten a lot more support. But she stuck to the speaking points and all of this stuff. And even though what she was saying was true, everything she's predicted has come true. Literally everything she said about Trump in the debates and on the campaign trail, all of that shit has come true. Everything has come true. And she said it. But she said it's all come true. But people didn't want to hear that. They didn't hear that. All they heard was policy. So if Democrats want to win something, they got to come out there and start talking shit.
They got to come out and
start,
thank you. That's the only thing that gets me about Westmore. I don't get the impression that, I don't know where Westmore was raised, but I don't get the impression that Westmore can go down to a Baltimore playground and talk shit. That's not the impression I get. And if you want to inspire some of these young black males, the young black males at some point want to feel male. And there's the thing, I wouldn't take that shit on the playground. I'm not going to take it here. And they don't see you doing that because you're trying to call yourself rising above it. I think we all can say, I hear what Michelle Obama's saying. Like my daddy used to say, sometimes you got to be willing to get into a mud fight with a pig. And you got to be willing. You got to be willing that the mud's gonna come. You're gonna get splattered with the mud regardless. But with that being said, y'all, it's 11:06. I got something I got to do. I see Kenneth in the hotel room. I'm sure he got something he has to do. We need to take some of the stuff we're saying and talk to more of our friends and ask them, or as I've asked you all before.
Go ahead,
please. Go ahead. One thing. Go ahead.
I have this thing went out, so I say, all right. So one thing that I wanted to say, yesterday, last night, I saw a video of it's sort of a risque video, but I don't know who did it, but it's an ad. It's some ad, I guess about Democrats, and this man and this woman walking down the hall, and they hear something in the closet. They go in the closet, and you got a dude, a Republican dude. He's talking about, I'm a Republican, elected official, and he's on his knees in front of another dude who owns the company. He said he gave me millions of dollars. They said, people said, we elected you to do this, that, and you're not doing it. You're doing what he said. And I saw that video. I was like, oh shit, that's cold. That's real cold. But I guarantee you that'll get people's attention. It will get people's attention.
We should find that and make sure we post it. I saw that like 2 weeks ago.
Because they're going to say what?
We should find that and repost
it. I did post. I posted it on my page.
I saw that 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I posted it. Yeah, I posted it on my page. So
yes,
it's on my page. I posted it last night.
Everybody go to Kenneth's page and repost that.
Those of you that are bold enough to do it, I know some of y'all got jobs where you're worried about them seeing your stuff online and getting in trouble.
Yeah, look, your jobs are no longer safe if you black. Y'all need to be clear. Your law jobs are no longer safe if you black. No matter what you believe, if you're a CEO and you black, your job is not safe. If you're a school president, ask George Mason's president, who's an HBUC grad who just went off on Trump Day for yesterday, and they're going after his job. It's not safe. The Virginia Military Institute's head was a black guy. Job ain't safe. 88,000 black women purged from the federal government. Your job ain't safe. You are damned if you do and damned if you don't. I'm going to tell you that again. You can put your head down like Joy Reid said, but when somebody declares war on you, they don't care. Just because you say they're trying to start a race war and you're not going to fight doesn't mean they're not going to swing. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Just because you say that you aren't going to do it doesn't mean that they aren't going to keep coming. So you might as well be an asshole on your own terms and get your friends to be so too. But I agree with Kenneth and I agree with Gary Chambers. If Gavin Newsom wants if Gavin Newsom really wants to, or Westmore or Pritzker, because I like Pritzker too, and he's going to have a hard time because he's Jewish. If you want to come in and you want to galvanize the Black community, come to our states and talk shit about our governors.
Oh, yeah.
Come to our states and talk cold cash shit about the governors, about Landry, that shitty ass, uneducated, dumbass Landry in Louisiana. You're going to have to, Louisiana, I don't think people know how important the state of Louisiana is to the civil rights movement. Extremely important. So many things start in Louisiana. And maybe somebody should get this message out to them. And there's another thing. I got to go because me and Kenneth said this a long time ago. If you're the mayor of Atlanta, you are essentially the default leader, Black leader for the whole state. Nobody carries the cachet that you carry. No state senator, no state rep, because you coming down as a mayor of Atlanta can go into any city and people will come out and see you speak. Any city. Act like it. Anyway, I got to go, Kenneth. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. And I'll see y'all
next week. See y'all next week.
Peace.
All right, deuces.
Let me go because I got a whole bunch of damn kids downstairs and I'm supposed to be grandfather.